Welcome to Toffee TV. It is my three talking points. Everton 1, West Ham United 1 at Hill Dickinson Stadium tonight. Disappointing performance by Everton and even more disappointing result. West Ham not in great form, just changed the manager. Felt like a big opportunity to get back to winning ways, having dropped 2 points last time out at home against Aston Villa. Everton were keen to avoid it tonight and try to pick it back up after, obviously, the disappointment of losing the Merseyside derby and the disappointment of going out the Carabao Cup. But sadly, it wasn't to be. Another disappointing display and the inability to score goals once again, kicking Everton in the backside or in the plums or wherever you want to be kicked by that. Lack of being able to put the ball in the back of the net has come back to bite Everton again. And right now, it's also given away poor goals, which has crept in, And David Moyes has got his work cut out, really. Everton had started the season okay. Defeat at Leeds was shocking, terrible performance. Lost at Leeds, but responded well with 3 wins in a week and then had an international break. And since we've come back from the international break, it just hasn't got going. And tonight was that opportunity, the first of 2 home games, to try and win both of them and go into the international break on a good run of form again. But it was not to be, and it does feel like a big opportunity missed tonight. First thing I'm going to talk about is the manager needing to choose a centre forward now, and that has to simply be Tierno Barry. I've been someone who, rightly or wrongly, has backed Beto quite heavily on the channel. I felt as though he deserved to go when Dominic Calvert-Lewin was way out of form, and I felt somewhat justified in the second half of last season saying that. He went and scored a few goals, important goals, when he was given a run in the team. But he just hasn't started the season very well at all. And I don't think the manager's convinced by him in the slightest. And I think I've said that a few times. I think Beto himself, even in an interview last week, was sort of alluding to that. David Moyes gives him a little bit of stick and questions whether he's really scored a goal in training and things like that. And while that might be done in a training ground banter type of way, it's still a little bit of an indication that the manager doesn't fully trust him. And I think I'm one for when players are playing well, they keep the shirt, but I think at the moment he's not performing well enough. Barry was brought into the team against Brighton at home, and Everton won the game 2-0. He was involved in build-up in both goals, and then for some reason, he played Barry against Mansfield. We won that game, but then Beto come on and did get himself a goal. And Beto started at Wolves, and fair enough, he scored in that one and done okay for an hour. But then Beto started against Villa after the break and missed 3 really good opportunities, didn't have a great game, and then started at Anfield and had a really poor afternoon at Anfield, was taken off at half-time. And then Barry started at Wolves in the Carabao Cup and was taken off at half-time, more so he probably wouldn't get sent off, having been booked. But Beto came on in that at half-time and didn't do anything, really, to affect it. So I just don't understand why he started again tonight. And I think the manager at some stage has got to go all in on our investment. We've bought Tierno Barry on David Moyes' watch. Therefore, the manager's had a say in it. Therefore, the manager's signed off on it. Angus Kinnear was on the show in our studio the other week and said, David, nothing went through David. Got past David unless he approved it. And Tierno Barry did get past him and he did approve it. So therefore, it's not like we've put a player on him he doesn't want. It's his choice, where Beto isn't his choice. And I feel like we've got a young striker there who has scored goals in every level he's played at and needs to just be given a run of games and see whether or not he can do it. But bringing him on for 20 minutes here and there isn't helping the lad. Now, listen, I'm not sat here going, he's been brilliant every time he's played, but his link-up plays far better than Beto's. He needs to get himself in between the posts. But the only way he's sort of going to get used to it is by playing games. So I just, for me, he would be in every game now for the next half a dozen games. He'd start every game. And make Beto be chomping at the bit. Because Beto's not even at the moment doing the things that we know he can do well, which is bullying defenders and getting them involved in a scrap and getting on the end of things. It's been too easy for defenders to mark him so far. So I think there's got to be a change because Everton aren't playing well now. It looks disjointed. We look like we're not playing the right ball. We're getting nothing from the front four in terms of creativity. We're getting it out to Grealish. And occasionally he'll go past and stand something up, but he's waiting for runners. Often want to go on the outside or someone to come short. It's not like there's a lot of movement round Jack where he can play it in and get it back. So we're going to have to improve that and freshen that up. And I think the starting point that is Tierno Barry. So me personally, I think he has to come in the side now for the next. And he's got tough games. Crystal Palace on Sundays, tough. Manchester City away after the break. But then think, we've got Spurs at home. But it's sink or swim and Everton needs something different. And neither of them are scoring. So it's his turn now to have a few games. My opinion as Everton's main strikers. I think David Moyes has got to get that right and get it right quickly. Second thing I want to talk about is refereeing. I moaned about it a little bit in my match reaction, and I've stopped doing it, to be honest, on these, making a point about it because, some people don't like it. Some people, I don't know, maybe the people who don't like it are referees, kids or something, or mates of referees or something. But the standard of refereeing in the Premier League is absolutely at an all-time low. It's absolutely woeful. And they've got more technology than they've ever had. And they're getting worse. Sam Barrett tonight has embarrassed himself. Absolutely awful display of refereeing tonight. Shockingly bad. Like really, really poor. And I just don't understand how it can go on. I don't understand how you're watching things. I've seen games over the weekend and, again, Mo Salah against Palace punches the ball and Chiesa puts it in and VAR deem it a goal, like an acceptable goal. It's like, how is that being allowed to stand when they're looking at technology? And I'm just using that one because that's like a big standout moment from the weekend. And okay, it didn't matter and Nketiah scored the winner and it didn't matter in the long run. But how can you look at that and say that he didn't touch it, it didn't affect the game? You're seeing all sorts of things. We've had the one the other week where the lad's done trying to do a 360 with the ball. He's not looking at the player, he's trying to get the trick away. And he catches the lad and runs off with it. No one thinks anything of it. It's put in the net, a brilliant goal. And then VAR, some tools dressed in their full refereeing kit in an office block, probably carding each other when they're making coffees and all that, sneaking up, going, red card. They decide it's a foul, it's ruining the game. And then add to that, people like Sam Barrett tonight. We saw how terrible Craig Pawson was in the Carabao Cup game last week with Wolves, how Everton have allowed him to referee us. It's beyond me. And again, I've said this before, it's that you either act like a big club or you just put out that you don't want to be seen as a big club anymore. Because Everton have got a decision to make. Stop being pushed around by these referees. Craig Pawson shouldn't be anywhere near Everton Football Club ever in any game after the Anfield derby last season with Canati. And he's done it he's had us loads of times, he's had us off loads of times. So much so that even Neil Warnock, who's nothing to do with Everton, no affinity with Everton, was on a radio show saying he's clearly got an issue with Everton Football Club. And therefore, and all the incidents that he's done to us were brought up. And yet Everton still allow him to referee their games when certain other clubs have had referees nowhere near them once they make an error against them. And yet we just go, oh yeah, we won't say a word. But that's a side issue. Sam Barrett was terrible tonight. Absolutely terrible. Allowing Walker-Peters to kick shite out of Grealish. Should have been booked the first one. We booked Tarkowski for the first tackle. People running behind him, just swiping his legs away, not a booking. Absolutely scandalous. And it went on all night. Paqueta throwing himself like he was in WWE. Should have been a booking. So, just terrible. But ruining the game. There was even one in the first half, it was, with us, where we knock a ball, Jake O'Brien, he knocked the ball down the line and just threw himself, and the referee gave a free kick. Like, it was never a foul. And he gave it to Everton. It was an Everton free kick. Just really bad refereeing. And then the Dewsbury Hall one is enough to make that referee take a ban for a couple of weeks, not be allowed to referee again. Because that booking that he's got tonight means he's out of our game on Sunday, which is a tough game. And it's not a booking because he's clattered someone. He wins the ball, a normal challenge, and we're away in the box with the ball. And he gives, not only does he give a foul when it is never a foul, he books him. Absolutely terrible refereeing, and they just get away with it. I just can't believe how bad it is in this country, the refereeing now. It's really, really bad. And it's spoiling it. It's making it even worse. I mean, it's rubbish anyway. It's making it even worse. So, again, I said it in the other video, Howard Webb's done an unbelievable job of coming into a situation where it was dead easy to make it better. Start kicking asses, and he hasn't. He's done the unimaginable and made it 10 times worse. So they're just getting worse and worse, and ruining. It's supposed to be the best league in the world. It's not, but it's supposed to be. It's marketed as that, and yet they've got the worst set of referees in the world. So shocking, absolutely shocking. And the third thing I want to talk about is how David Moyes is going to have to come up with something different. You know, I sort of talked about it before with Tierno Barry being the striker, but we're going to have to come up with a different way of playing as a front four if we're going to play like that. If we're playing with, it isn't really a number 10 because we don't have that. The makeup of the midfield's probably not ideal, I guess, at times, because we need Garner, and I thought Jimmy Garner was brilliant tonight, but we need him making sure he does genuinely sit. He still leaves his position at times, and therefore there is a big hole because he's going to get involved elsewhere. But when he's there and Idrissa's there, Idrissa goes naturally and hunts around, and so does Dewsbury Hall, which means sometimes there's big pockets in front of our back four. I think we need to get that right. But obviously this weekend we haven't got Kane and Dewsbury Hall because of Sam Barrett. And 4 other bookings that he's picked up. But let's not talk about that. That's irrelevant right now. But we haven't got him. So therefore, this weekend, it gives David Moyes a different choice. Now, does David Moyes put Jack Grealish central? Because right now, is it really working for Jack on that left? And he's still brilliant football. I love watching him, but are we getting enough out of him? Or is this an opportunity to try him centrally for Sunday? Pushing Jai over on the left and bring Dibbling in on the right, and therefore have a different 3 behind. I would have Tierno Barry, obviously, like I said before. And I think it gives the manager an opportunity for that. And then he would be left with Idrissa and Garner. Now, obviously, a little bit of onus would have to be on Jack to try to help out a little bit in the middle. But if he's playing in that number 10 kind of role, at least he can carry a real threat to Crystal Palace. He'll be sat in a pocket where they can't leave him alone because he'll kill them. And it'll also have him centrally to go either way with the ball. Rather, at the moment, he's over on the left. Mikalenko, bless him, just isn't a very good overlapping fullback. He tries, but his final ball's terrible. He's a really solid, good 1v1 defender, and he's done really well for us there. But he's not an attacking fullback, and we need an attacking fullback in that position, same as we need one on the right. Jake O'Brien, who I did think he had a poor game tonight, isn't an attacking right back. He's a solid right back, defensive right back, but the manager will move towards an attacking right back, and Jake will then have to go and try and compete for a centre back position. So what Sunday represents is the opportunity to give Tyler Dibbling a start, getting Jai back on the left hand side, and have Grealish central maybe, because then he's a real threat going in. Now, the other thing he could do is put Dibbling there, putting Jai behind Barry, and put Grealish, leave Grealish where he is. But I just think it'd be really interesting to see Jack Grealish picking the ball up centrally, where he can go both ways, get shots off, slide people in, whether that be playing in Dibbling on one side and then Jai on the other, but doing it from a more central position. I think that might change us slightly, because what we're doing at the moment's not really working. We're heavily weighted on Jack, and if Jack's not on, we're banging it long to better. We can't get hold of it anyway. So I think the manager needs a little rethink for Sunday. So let's see what he comes up with. That's what I'd do anyway. Right, they're my 3 things. I've gone on far longer than I thought I would do, so I apologise. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that. Check out the other match reaction stuff. See you later.